There is a wedge of empty desert, bigger than some entire countries, and no nation on earth will take it. Not because they're fighting over it, the opposite. Egypt doesn't want it. Sudan doesn't want it. Both have looked at this land, sitting right on their shared border, and both have quietly said, "No thank you, you take it." Think about how strange that is. Every other patch of dry land on earth belongs to someone. Every desert, every mountain, every frozen wasteland has a country that's drawn a line around it and called it theirs. Every patch but this one. It has a name, Bir Tawil, and the reason two countries are so desperate not to own it is one of the strangest accidents in the history of borders. A place that exists only because of a mistake nobody wants to fix. Look at a map of Northeast Africa, where Egypt meets Sudan. The border between them looks, at a glance, almost perfectly straight. A clean horizontal line running across the desert near the 22nd parallel. But zoom in, east of the Nile, and you'll find a small shape that doesn't quite belong to either side. It's a trapezoid, wider at the top than the bottom, about 2,060 square kilometers of rock and sand. To put that in perspective, that's larger than some whole nations. And on every official map, if you look closely, it sits in a strange limbo. Not colored for Egypt, not colored for Sudan, just blank. The name Bir Tawil points to the one thing the land is known for, a well. There is no town here, no road, no border post, no flag flying over a government building. Just an empty stretch of the Sahara that, legally speaking, belongs to no one on the planet. The technical term is terra nullius, nobody's land. And Bir Tawil is the most famous example on Earth. But how does a piece of solid ground end up owned by nobody? The answer isn't here in the desert. It's in two old documents, written 3 years apart. To understand Bir Tawil, you have to understand that there isn't one border here. There are two. Rewind to 1899. Egypt and Sudan are both, in effect, run by the British. And in an agreement that year, Britain draws the border between them as a simple, straight political line, right along the 22nd parallel. Clean, geometric. The kind of border you draw with a ruler when you've never actually stood in the place you're dividing. But a straight line on a map ignores the people living underneath it. So just 3 years later, in 1902, the British drew a second line, an administrative boundary, meant to follow how the land was actually used. And this line wasn't straight. It bent. In a couple of places, it wandered north of the 22nd parallel, and in a couple of places, it dipped south. And here is the crucial part. Those two lines, the straight 1899 line and the bending 1902 line, do not match. Between them, they carve out two separate pieces of disputed land. One of them is Bir Tawil. And to understand why nobody wants Bir Tawil, you have to meet the other piece, the one everybody wants. About 300 kilometers to the northeast, where the desert meets the Red Sea, there's a far bigger piece of land caught in the same tangle. It's called the Hala'ib Triangle. And Hala'ib is everything Bir Tawil is not. It's about 10 times larger. It has a coastline on the Red Sea. It has people, ports, resources, strategic value. It is, in every way, the good land. And both Egypt and Sudan want it, badly. So now picture the two lines again. Under the 1899 straight line, the Hala'ib Triangle falls on the Egyptian side, and Bir Tawil falls to Sudan. Under the 1902 bending line, it flips. Hala'ib goes to Sudan, and Bir Tawil goes to Egypt. Do you see the trap forming? Each country has to choose which line it believes in, and whichever line it picks to claim the prize is the exact same line that hands away the scrap. You cannot grab Hala'ib without giving up Bir Tawil. The two come as a package deal, and they cancel each other out, which sets up one of the only border standoffs in the world where both sides are fighting to claim less land. So here's where the two countries have landed. Egypt insists the real border is the 1899 line, the straight one along the 22nd parallel. Why? Because that line gives Egypt the valuable Hala'ib Triangle on the Red Sea. But by choosing the 1899 line, Egypt automatically places Bir Tawil on the Sudanese side. So Egypt says, Bir Tawil isn't ours. Sudan insists the real border is the 1902 line, the bending administrative one. Why? Because that line gives the Hala'ib Triangle to Sudan. But choosing the 1902 line places Bir Tawil on the Egyptian side. So Sudan says, Bir Tawil isn't ours either. And so you get this perfect, almost comic deadlock. To claim the rich land, each country must disown the poor one. Neither will budge, because budging on Bir Tawil would mean budging on Hala'ib, and Hala'ib is the whole point. The result is a 2,060 square kilometer wedge of desert that two governments are actively, deliberately refusing to own. Not abandoned by accident, disowned on purpose. Now, it would be easy to imagine Bir Tawil as some pristine, untouched void, a perfect nothing. But that's not quite true, and it matters. This corner of the Sahara has been crossed for centuries by nomadic peoples, the Ababda and the Bishari, whose grazing routes are far older than any line a British official ever drew. They move through with camels and livestock, following seasonal pasture and the location of water, guided by knowledge passed down across generations. To them, the question of whether this is Egypt or Sudan or nobody's is almost beside the point. The land was a route long before it was a riddle. And in recent years, the emptiness has drawn others too, informal gold prospectors, working the rock in small, unregulated camps, slipping in from one side or the other. So Bir Tawil isn't truly untouched. What it lacks is a government. No permanent settlement, no administration, no state writing its name on the map. It's not that nobody goes there, it's that nobody rules there. And in the age of the internet, that vacuum turned out to be irresistible. If you've heard of Bir Tawil at all, it's probably because of a story from 2014. A man from Virginia named Jeremiah Heaton had promised his young daughter that she could be a real princess. Most parents would buy a costume. Heaton went looking online for terra nullius, land that legally belonged to no one. He found Bir Tawil. He traveled across the Egyptian desert, and on his daughter's birthday, he planted a homemade flag in the sand and declared the founding of a new country, the Kingdom of North Sudan, with his daughter as its princess. The story went viral. It was charming. It was, for a while, even optioned as a Disney film. And he was not alone. Over the years, a whole parade of people have claimed Bir Tawil from behind a keyboard, declaring online kingdoms and principalities and selling imaginary titles. But here's the thing you have to be clear about. Planting a flag does not make a country. Under international law, a state needs recognition by its neighbors, by other nations, by bodies like the United Nations. None of these flag planters have any of that. Not one. They are stunts, sincere ones, sometimes sweet ones, but legally they are worth exactly nothing. Bir Tawil has no king. It remains what it was, the land no country wants. We like to think the map is finished, that every corner of the world has been measured, claimed, and colored in. Bir Tawil is proof that it isn't, that the same human habit which makes us fight over land can, under just the right twist of logic, make us refuse it instead. A straight line and a bending line, drawn 3 years apart by people who never imagined the trap they were setting. A rich triangle by the sea and a poor one in the desert, chained together so tightly that to take one, you must give up the other. And so this quiet wedge of sand sits there still, crossed by nomads, prospected by gold hunters, ruled by no one. Waiting, perhaps forever, for a country to change its mind. If a place can be too unwanted to belong to anyone, what does that say about the lines we draw around everything else? If you enjoyed this one, subscribe, because next time on Margins of the Map, we go to a place that did the opposite of vanishing from the map. An entire sea that simply vanished in a single lifetime. People who were born on its shore can stand today in the middle of a desert where the water used to be. Thanks for watching.